Welcome to Checkered Flag Interactive for the nationwide series for the In the Zone Racing League. We're here at Auto Club Speedway, and we've got this big 2-mile track with over 25 drivers here tonight, and things are looking to be a great race. The weather's perfect, and it's Steve Bonesteel in the booth, joined by Brandon Hoff. And you're tuned in live with Checkered Flag Interactive. We're just wrapping up qualifying as we speak, and we're ready to go racing.
Yeah, Steve, it looks to be a really good race today. A lot of fast guys. Like you mentioned, over 25 guys here. This being the first race in the chase. And based on the last race at Richmond, this is going to be a pretty hectic race. The last race to get in the chase was at Richmond. And a lot of guys were desperate. We saw a lot of pushing and shoving on the short tracks. This being a 2-mile oval, a lot of room to race. Shouldn't see a lot of that, but we could tonight.
Yeah, that's for sure. Richmond, we saw Eric Myers come away with the victory in the number 31, and it was a great race for sure. And here at Auto Club, the entire story is different. This track is huge, as you said. You're not going to see, the bump and go, that kind of stuff, because this track, it's not a Daytona or a Talladega, but it is a super speedway, and things get spread out so fast here. Auto Club is also extremely different than Michigan. There's a lot less banking here, and the track's actually quite a bit older. The surface is, you don't get nearly as much grip as you do at Michigan. Even on iRacing, how they don't have it repaved, there's still a lack of grip here. And this track is fairly new to the sim as a whole, pretty much. And a lot of these drivers, this may be one of the first 2 or 3 times they've been on the track, if not the first time. So things are looking to be very interesting here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. We got guys. The times right now are pretty close, as we could see in qualifying. They were in practice. We should also mention the draft does come into play a lot. Being a 2-mile, I guess you can call it super speedway if you want. The draft comes into play a lot down the straightaways. These long straightaways, the wide sweeping turns. Like I said, a lot of room to race. I think it's going to be a really good race, and like you said, it is fairly new to the sim, about a couple months old. Like you said, again, not a lot of guys have a lot of experience on this track, so not sure what to expect, but I expect these guys to put on a great show for us tonight.
Yeah, that's for sure. And again, this is race number 1 of the In the Zone Racing League nationwide chase. This is a 5-race chase, and right now the points are still being worked out from Richmond, but what we do know is the 157 car of Andrew Fayash is the points leader. So right now, he's the guy to watch. He's starting 3rd as of now as qualifying wraps up. So he is the guy to keep your eyes on tonight, because he is the points leader, and he is who's everybody's going after tonight. Everyone's trying to beat him.
Yeah, we've seen some upset winners this season, but I wouldn't put my money past Andrew Fash tonight.
Yeah, that's for sure. And one thing I would like to mention, Auto Club Speedway is known for long green flag runs, which is not necessarily a boring race by any means, especially for the drivers out here. Qualifying times are important because it is sometimes hard to make up a lot of track position here. If you start 15th on back, by the time you get up to 8th, even if you have a fast car, your tires are starting to get wore. And it's really hard to make headway once your tires get evened out, because everyone's going to have tire problems after about 25, 30 laps. The only way to conserve is to completely take the corners very, very carefully. And that could also play in the role, because a lot of drivers will be watching the fuel strategy as the runs go along here. So keep your eyes out for strategy in this race as well. As the drivers are gridding, we will start to run down the gridding order. We've got the number 38 of Chad Coleman on the pole. On his outside, we've got the number 5 of Bill Tomer. And starting in the second row on the inside, your points leader, the 157, Andrew Fayash, the 3rd. In 4th, we've got Fred Moreau. And rounding out the top 5, we've got Cody Welker in the number 11.
To his outside in the 6th position will be the number 73 of John Higman Jr. And in the next row, starting in the 7th spot, will be the number 50 of Nicholas Moreau. And an eighth to his outside will be the number 9 of Jeff Ramsdell. And in the next row, to round out the top 10, will be in ninth, the number 84 of Bill Brown. And in 10th, the number 99 of Scott Rutherford.
And just outside of the top 10, and I need to mention these times are very, very close, just within a tenth of a second of each other. We've got the number 31 of Eric Myers, who did win last week, and in 12th we've got the number 13 of Kevin Malone. In 13th we've got Travis Pinney, and in 14th Todd Guerin. And rounding out the top 15, we've got Christopher Kurtzel, who usually starts a little bit closer to the front. So it's going to be interesting among a lot of storylines tonight to be watching him move through the field, because in practice he was running a little bit faster than he was able to get in qualifying. So we'll just have to see how he works the field as they are on the backstretch, ready to go green flag racing, this time by...
Yeah, you were talking about Christopher. If we remember back to Richmond, he had to fight his way into the chase, and by virtue of his top 5 finish that he got there, he did indeed do that. So he is a contender for this championship. So watch out for him. Like you said, starting towards mid-pack, should expect to see him up front.
And now right here, the pace car is coming off of turn 4. And we have to wait for the leaders to get the green flag, and once he is getting it, he will be going. Everyone waits on Chad Coleman on the inside, Bill Tomer on his outside, and we are green, green, green as they stack it up behind him a little bit where you get off to the green flag.
Nice takeoff by Chad Coleman. He gets a little bit of an advantage over Andrew Fayash and Bill Tomer. Andrew Fayash will look to the inside of Bill Tomer going into turn 1. He will get that spot, along with the number 51 of Fred Moreau, who will grab the 3rd position.
And coming off of 2, we see people moving all over the place. As we've already said, this is a very big track, and by that virtue, there are multiple lines that these drivers can run tonight, and as the runs go on, the different lines that are fastest will definitely change. As we see the group up front, everyone is running really close to each other right now, but it's all single file up front, and things will spread out pretty fast here. As we see a battle for the lead going to lead lap number 1, Chad Coleman will get it, but only by a little bit.
Our points leader right now, Andrew Fash, is trying to take a look under Chad Coleman going into turn 1, seeing if he can get the job done. Looks like side by side in the middle of 1 and 2. Coming out of turn 2, looks like Chad is going to get the run down the backstretch.
And it looks like Andrew Fayash has got a very strong car early on, because it is always hard when you're pinned down towards those bottom 2 lanes here to keep that run and stay side by side. The guy on the outside always gets the run off the corner, as we actually see a 3, almost a 4-car battle here for the lead, as Andrew Fayash will clear him coming off the corner, but everyone is right there, and it's you can't really move paper between these guys. They're right next to each other.
Yeah, for sure. Now we see a battle for the 2nd spot. Fred Moreau going underneath the number 38 of Chad Coleman. Side by side in the middle of 1 and 2. Looks like Chad is going to get the run down the backstretch once again. Bill Tomer looking to make it 3 wide, and he will do that down the backstretch. 3 wide going into turn 3. Bill Tomer on the bottom. Fred Moreau in the middle. Chad Coleman up top. Somebody's got to give.
We've got a wreck on the backstretch. Multiple cars around. A couple guys on the inside. Caution is out.
Trying to take a look here what happened.
Well, looking back, it turns out that 3 wide just does not work out for these guys mid-pack. The number 21 gets up into the number 6, and Mannix Richard just gets sent right around, collecting a couple cars towards the back of the field. They were running 3 wide and just ran right out of real estate. As I said earlier, the guy on the bottom line just had a hard time keeping it down there and just slid right up into him.
Yeah, that could have been a lot bigger, though, than what it was. Looks like minimal damage. Well, the 6 car has a little bit of rear end damage, but I think for the most part, everybody has minimal damage. 3-car wreck. Looks like it was Stephen Maddox, Mannix Richard, and William Long, I believe, was involved the tiniest bit, but I believe everybody comes out of that wreck okay.
Yeah, the 55 of Trevor Dalton got extremely lucky. When the 6 got turned, the rear end of his car almost swung out and caught him. And assuming that was 3 cars going around, that could have been a lot worse for everyone behind him, because the whole track would have been practically blocked.
Well, we were talking about strategy now. Lap 4. These guys have a 3-lap run. It looks like the leaders are going to stay out. Looks like the first car to come down will be the number 31 of Eric Myers. He was running in the 9th position. Doesn't look like he has many followers in the front of the field. Looks like Scott Rutherford will take advantage. But for the most part, these guys are staying out here. So not sure if this is going to work out for Eric and Scott, but we'll have to see. If this is maybe something they can learn for later in the race with pit strategy, but well, like we said, we have to see.
Well, one thing they might be trying to do, and unfortunately I don't know the actual maximum capacity of these cars because I've never driven a Nationwide car on this track, but I do know that usually on tracks like this, the maximum fuel capacity for one run is between about 35 to 40 laps. So it might just be that they're playing the extra game, because if you can get your top off right now and get some 4 fresh Goodyears, you can be out there and not have to save to stretch it all the way to the end, assuming we get a green flag run where we won't see a caution, we'll have green flag pit stops. Those extra 3 or 4 laps might be the difference between having to save a lot and having to save practically nothing. So just coming in, diving in now, getting some 4 fresh Goodyears now that you got a feel for your car might not be a terribly bad thing to do. So we'll see how it plays out, but I don't think it'll be too bad because it is very early in this 80-lap race. So as long as your car's there, I think you can still make it back up to the front.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they could. Like we said, there's a lot of room to race on this track. Like we've been seeing up front, 2 grooves. We can race 3 wide here. These guys, don't count them out at all. I mean, just because they're in the back now, I mean, fresh tires make a difference. The 2 and 3 wide, you can make a lot of passes on this track. So, but like you said, they may be trying to do this pit strategy thing, so they won't have to save anything towards the end of this race if we do get a green flag run. But we'll have to see if that works out, as it looks like the field is getting 1 to go right now.
Yep, the field's getting 1 to go. The pace car lights are off, and we're getting doubled up. Let's update you on the top 5 right now. We've got the 157 car of Andrew Fayosh, the 3rd. He's your points leader, as we've said earlier. He has moved his way from 3rd up to 1st. Your pole sitter, Chad Coleman, is in 2nd right now. And we've got in 3rd the number 51 of Fred Moreau. And in 4th, Bill Tomer. And in 5th, Jeff Ramsdell, who made up quite a few track positions under that first run. So he's definitely got a pretty good car because he was making up a lot of time. So as we head down the backstretch, your top 5 is set to go, and hopefully everyone keeps their car under them and we'll get a nice green flag run, because I think things were getting pretty interesting towards the front for such an early bit of a race.
Yeah, side by side, 3 wide. And these guys were, first 5 laps, things usually just calm down for the first 5 laps and then they start racing, but not these guys. They were going at it from the drop of the green flag. But I don't expect anything different from these guys. The tires do wear pretty quickly, so you got to get them while you can, as they say.
Yep, for sure, and here we are. We've got the pack coming off of turn 4. Pace car is going to pull off any second now, and once again we will be getting the green flag here at Auto Club Speedway for round 1 of the chase races for the In the Zone Racing League. And we've gotten the green flag, and again the leader gets a nice jump, and things get a little bit stacked up from about 6th on back, but everyone's going to hold on to it. The leader's got a nice preferred line going into 1 and 2. Andrew Fayosh has got the perfect swing in, and he's going to pull the guys back there a little bit, but we'll see how it plays out because these guys definitely closed up on the leader last run, so we'll see.
Top 3 right now seem to have a little gap back to Bill Tomer. Looks like Chad Coleman's going to take a look under Fred Moreau. Going into turn 3, Chad's going to dive it in there on the bottom. Fred's going to hold the middle lane. Side by side in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Coming out of turn 4, they're still side by side. Looks like Chad's got the advantage. Fred's still fighting back, but I believe Chad is going to clear him down the front stretch, and Andrew will pull away by about 2 car lengths over Chad.
And one thing is, when you battle another driver, the guy that's not battling someone can pull away a lot within just a matter of laps. Just the extra two or three tenths you have to slow up to not run the other guy over is a huge difference to the leader, who can practically run anywhere he wants. So I think right now they're going to ride as much as possible. But as you see right now, the number 5 almost coming up to the 51, having to check up hard, as Jeff Ramsell's going to take advantage of that up on the high side, clip the wall. He's going to lose the run. Watch out on his low side. But as you said, this track is really big. But one thing is, you run out of room really quickly. With the lack of banking here, once you start sliding, there's no banking to save you from sliding up into the wall. All you can do is let off.
Yeah, that's for sure. These walls pop out of you really quick coming off the corners. We just saw what happened to Jeff right there. He looks like minimal damage on that car, but he did fall back one position. John Higman Jr. in the number 73 is moved up into the top 5. Early on in this race, looks like single file for about the first 10 or 11 cars. Andrew Fash still maintains a pretty small lead over Chad Coleman right now, but he may be saving his stuff or what, or we don't know, but we see Chad crushing him a little bit now going into turn 1.
And right now, looking through the field, pretty much everything is single file. The occasional 1 or 2 car battle going on, but nothing too major. And I think a lot of these drivers, they've gotten that first caution out of the way. They're ready to race and get things going here. I think we'll see a pretty big green flag run as long as things keep it up in this same fashion, because like we've said again and again, almost had contact between the number 7 and the driver on his outside halfway through the field. One of those little 2-car battles I was just talking about. Basically a replay of the caution we just got over. He ran out of room so quickly and almost ran the driver on his outside right out of space.
Yeah, we see that happen quickly. Christopher got very lucky there. It looked like with the number 13 of Kevin Malone. But Christopher got past him. He is now eyeing the top 10 as we now have a battle up front, it looks like, for the 3rd position now. It looks like Chad Coleman, Fred Moreau, and Bill Tomer are all going to get by Andrew Fash. Not sure what happened to Andrew, if he got into the wall or what, but move Andrew back to 4th this lap.
And it looked like Andrew just simply let him by going into turns 1 and 2, so he might be saving his stuff, as we've mentioned about some other drivers here. He just got up on the high side and didn't even contend with the guys letting him by on the bottom side, so he will fall back to 4th, but I think he might have something in strategy right now.
Yeah, we saw him do this at, I believe it was last week at Richmond. He told us in the booth after the post-race, he said he had a problem on the long run. He overdrove his stuff in the short run, and it allowed him and Eric Myers to battle, and he thought he had the faster car, and he just overdrove his stuff on the short run and caused him to lose all the grip on the long run in his tires. As we have a car sideways off the corner. Not sure who that was, but they looked to have saved it. I believe that was Cody Welker.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at him, he pulled a nice save, as we see pretty much a 2-car breakaway right now towards the front, as Andrew Fash will move back up into 3rd. We see the number 38 of Chad Coleman, your pole sitter, and Fred Moreau fighting pretty hard right here, going 2 wide, going into 3 and 4 on this big old track. They've been switching it up, doing some crossovers, and the 51's looking to clear him coming off the corner, and it looks like he will do just that as we see Fayash move back into the picture. Everyone's running pretty hard right now, and the 51 will lead this lap, so that is definitely a plus for him, as the 38's going to look back on his outside, getting the side draft going into turns 1 and 2. He's ready to make the pass back. These guys are not holding anything back right now.
No, for sure. We see Andrew trying to catch Chad and Fred, but it doesn't look like he's gonna do it this lap. But we do have a battle right now for the 4th position. Ramsell is putting pressure on Bill Tomer right now, and it looks like Bill Brown is right there too in the 84. He's been up front a lot in the past few races, so looks like the top 6, 7, 8 maybe kind of gotten a little bit of separation from the rest of the field, but these guys are putting on a good show right now, as we expected.
Yeah, just because they're not 2 and 3 wide and wrecking does not mean it's a good show. Give it a few laps, watch these guys battle it out, and it's always fun to watch someone chase someone down, get up on their bumper, pressure them a little bit, and then watch the 2-car battle, even get a 3 or 4-car battle, because that's what this track is. You get the run, when people get their advantages on their tires and their setups a little bit, and this is a fixed setup race, by the way, so it's not actually the setups, but what happens is these guys, they run their stuff and their tires heat up, they lose grip, everything closes back up, as we're seeing right now. The 157 car, he's moving back up to the front. He might have conserved his stuff for a few laps while the 51 and the 38 battled it out, so now his car's ready to fight for a little bit at least. And that's how this race will go pretty much the entire time. These drivers will stick to the bottom side most of the race as long as they can, but once you see the battles, they have the whole track to race. It's just when you're running by yourself, the bottom line is definitely the fastest way around the track, and it's the most conservative way around the track for your car. We're going to hop on board Andrew Fayash as he looks low on the number 38, gets right on that apron. He's going to go up, battling him off the corner. It's going to be side-by-side, a drag race down the front stretch. I don't think he's going to be able to clear him, but he'll look to keep battling him going into one.
Looks like Chad's going to get a little bit of an advantage going here into one. Andrew's going to keep the preferred line on the bottom. Chad gets a good arc into the corner, into the middle line. Andrew holds the bottom, still side-by-side in the middle of 1 and 2. Chad looks like he's going to get the run down the back stretch. A little bit of draft and help from Bill Tomer, and it looks like Chad will maintain that spot, and now Bill Tomer will look on the outside of Andrew Fayash going into turn 3.
And that's exactly what I was just talking about. When you're running by yourself, the bottom line's the best place to be. But once you get in a battle, and the drivers in front of you, they're side by side, the guy on the inside just does not get the run like the guy on the outside does. So if you can move up on the outside, you can usually make the run and then battle the driver on the inside, and a lot of times you'll be able to get past him. Right now, Fred Moreau out in first. He's loving this behind him because he's able to pull away from these guys, and the 38's also been able to clear him, and he's starting to pull away as the 157 and the 5 battle side by side, coming off of 2, getting really close here, but they're losing ground on these 2 leaders. So for them, this battle's not a good thing, but for the leaders, they're loving what they're seeing in the mirrors.
Looks like Chad is starting to run down Fred again. He's right on his back bumper now, going into turn 3 now. Middle of 3 and 4, Fred will get a pull away a little bit over Chad coming out of turn 4 and give another lap lead to Fred Moreau in the 51. But Chad trying to get that draft down the front stretch, as we mentioned, trying to grab the lead back. Doesn't look like he's going to do it going into 1, and looks like now we still first 8 cars, I believe. Yes, the first 8 cars have broken away from the pack behind them, and now the first battle we have now is for the 6th spot between Jeff Ramsdell and Nicholas Moreau in the 50.
And as we come into the 1/4 of the way through this race, we're gonna run through the top 5 really quick and then take a commercial break. In first, we've got the number 51, Fred Moreau, followed by Chad Coleman, then Bill Tomer, and then Andrew Fayash the 3rd, and then rounding out the top 5, Bill Brown, and right outside the top 5, Jeff Ramsdell and Nicholas Moreau, and he will be battling pretty hard right here. But we will be right back with Checkered Flag Interactive's coverage of the ITZR fixed race at Auto Club Speedway for round 1 of their 5-race chase series. And we're back at Auto Club Speedway. When we stepped away from the action, we saw a battle towards the back of the field between Travis Pinney and the car below him. He must have been having some trouble with his car. He had some damage on his right side. Coming up off the corner, he just slid right up to the wall, and it hooked him a little bit, and he slid around. The number 28 did get him a little bit. Doesn't look to be too bad, but he is a little bit damaged, and definitely the 2 is going to want some fresh Goodyears, along with pretty much everyone else on the field. But as we said, we're under caution here, and we'll see how things play out towards the front. There might be a chance for strategy. We might see some 2 tires guys from about 10th on back trying to move up their positions, but we'll see.
We should update you too on the 2 guys, notable guys really, that pit that last caution, Eric Myers and Scott Rutherford. We thought maybe they would, fresh tires would be a little bit of a help for them, but honestly, it's not really worked for them. Eric is up to the 12th spot and Scott is in 15th, so tires mean something, but I guess after about 4 or 5 laps, they even out. So as the field now comes down pit road, led by Fred Moreau in the 51, we'll see if any strategy is played here.
Taking a look at the number 51, your leader right now, we're going to take a look at his pit stop, see what he does. Will he be taking 4 tires? I predict a yes, but maybe I'm wrong. He pulls it in there very nicely, unlike me, who would usually just slide it right on through. So he's good on his entrance, and he looks to be taking 4 tires here, along with most of everyone else on pit road. So it doesn't look like the race off pit road will be that interesting when it comes to strategy. But the 51 will be the leader coming off pit road, followed by the 38 and the 84. And then it does look like the 157 and the 5 will come off right after that.
Looks like the top 5, yes, has basically stayed the same for the most part. And looks like nobody stayed out. Nobody took 2 tires, so quarter way through this race, no strategy has been played. But, you really can't expect a lot of guys to take 2 tires after about 20 laps under green. And, all the handling goes away, and, you need to take a full tank of fuel anyway, so why not stay for 4 tires?
Yep, exactly. And this will make it a 1 pit stop race from here. So I don't think strategy when it comes to fuel will definitely play too much into the race here, but the tires, as we've said, they do wear off so quickly that you might be able to see some people, if we have a quick 5 to 10 lap green flag run, they might take the chance to move up the field with 2 tires. But after a run like this, it's really hard to take 2 tires because all 4 of your tires are heated up, and if you only take 2, the 2 that you took are going to be cool, and the 2 that you had are going to be hot, and you're going to be pretty dang loose for about 3 laps. So I think everyone made the right choice. And we're going to take a quick commercial break, and once we go back, we will be doubled up to take the green flag, so don't go anywhere. We're live at Auto Club Speedway. And you're back with the ITZR Nationwide Series at Auto Club Speedway. You're listening to Steve Bonesteel and Brendan Hoff up in the booth as the field is doubled up once again after a quick two-car caution. And we see the number 51, Fred Moreau, on the inside with the number 38 on his outside. These guys battled all last run. They're still up in the front after pit stops, and we see the number 84, Bill Brown. We haven't seen him up in the top 3 too much tonight, and he has finally moved his way up there. So this will be the first restart we see him as the pace car dives off, waiting for the 51 to take the green flag. Everyone's piling up behind him a little bit, as we see all the time on these straightaways, and we are green, green, green. Here we go.
Another clean, good start from the leader. This time Fred Moreau in the 51. It looks like it'll give him the chance to pull out a little bit. This time Bill Brown in the 84, like we just said, we have not talked much about him. But he will get by Chad Coleman. Going into turn 1, coming out of turn 2, Bill Brown will take the advantage for second place over Chad Coleman. And side by side for the 4th position now, Andrew Fash and Nicholas Moreau in the 50.
And I'd like to note that under caution we had Christopher Kurtzel. He did blink out very briefly. He dropped out of the server, but he's back. I think he will be 1, maybe 2 laps down, but he's still in the race. That's definitely going to hurt him now that he is in the chase. So definitely this is hurtful for him. And also we saw Jeff Ramsdell have a pretty dismal pit stop. He fell back about 4 positions. He's quickly moving back up the field, heading towards this big 6-car battle for the top few positions here. So watch out for him to be making his run as we see Bill Brown closing in on the leader. His car is running strong right now for sure.
Yeah, Bill has made his way through the pack very nicely. He really hasn't had any, seems like any altercations with anybody coming through the field. He did start mid-pack, about around the 10th to 15th area, so he's finally made his way up here, lap 27, coming to 28. Remember, he is the winner from a few weeks ago at Charlotte, so he is a winner this season, and he, especially being in the chase, he definitely hopes to do it again, kick off the chase on the right foot.
And looking back towards these drivers from about 15th on back, we see a huge cluster of cars. These guys are trying to battle it out, trying to get some positions. We see the likes of Trevor Dalton and Mannix Richer back here. They're stuck in this pack, and I think they've got faster cars than what you see right now, but they're stuck in the pack as we look. People are starting to spread out, and it starts at the front. Once the front pack gets spread out, everyone else starts to spread out as well. But right now, we see the Trevor Dalton, and he's got a pack of cars behind him trying to pass him everywhere, so it looks like he might be struggling with his car a little bit. And looking through the field, that's pretty much the only massive battle we've got that's side by side. So besides that, everyone's starting to ride it, get to the bottom line, and trying to run some laps off the board.
Yeah, we are nearing the halfway point. They're going to come around and take lap 30 this time, so they will be 11 laps from halfway. As we now have a battle for second. Bill Brown gets a little bit loose. They are 3 wide in the middle of 3 and 4, coming off turn 4. Bill Brown up out of the groove.
And I don't... Ooh, that number 84, Bill Brown, made a block on Ramsdell as he looks to the inside. I'm not sure if it was so much a block or a way to block his momentum a little bit, but he definitely did move down a little bit. But what we saw there was the 84 saw the 50, who tried to squeeze under him once number 157 made the move. He tried to make the block a little bit, keep him down there, but he noticed that he wasn't slowing down, so he spared his car and moved up the track, and he did lose a couple positions, but judging by the way he's been able to move through the field, I don't think he'll be too hurt in the long run.
Yeah, it doesn't look that way. Bill is still finding his way on the outside of Bill Tomer. That is for the 6th position now. Ramsdell did get by. He is now up into the top 5. Now we have a battle for the 3rd spot going into turn 1 and for the lead, side by side for the lead going into turn 1 between Fred Moreau and Chad Coleman. Fred will pull away, but for the 3rd position though, Nicholas Moreau will get by Andrew Fash, and it looks like he will take over the 3rd spot, but Andrew is fighting back on the bottom down the backstretch.
And just as Andrew fights back, we see Chad Coleman and Fred Moreau. They're battling it out pretty hard right now. Chad Coleman dives to the bottom in 3 and 4, and the 51 just lets him by. But this battle's not dying out anytime soon. It looks like Chad Coleman's going to have to fight to lead this lap. The 51's looking back to his inside crossover off of turn 4. Going to be a photo finish if that would have been the finish across the line. The 38 will lead the lap by just basically inches as the 51 dives under him going through turns 1 and 2. 38's coming back to his bumper, looking to make a move. And we see one car going around. He saves it. Beautiful save by Andrew Fayosh back there. Beautiful job keeping it on the apron. Wreck. And we see more people stacking up.
That's a 91 in the 01. It looks like the 91 just, I guess, was checking up for the wreck. The 01 didn't see him. Spun him around a little bit. They both saved it. I believe we are still green. But again, while we were doing the report on Fayash and the leaders, we should mention one of the front runners, Nicholas Moreau in the 50, had some problems coming off of turn 4. Looks like he smacked the wall, damaged his car a little bit. He's now back around the 12th, 13th position, actually battling with our former leader and former top 5 running car, Andrew Fayash. But as we see, up in the top 10, we have a pretty big battle for a top 5 spot, top 10 spot right now. About 6 or 7 cars.
Kevin Malone in the number 13, he's moved his way up into the top 5. We haven't talked about him at all tonight as well. He's battling Jeff Ramsdell as we see the number 5 get extremely loose off of 3 and 4. Ramsdell's going to look to his outside. The 13's going to look to follow him. Looks like he will. The 84 will also go out to the outside. Don't know if he'll be able to make the pass going through 1 and 2, but he'll be riding right there if the mistake is made, and he'll dive under the 13. He gets a little bit too high. He's moving out of the groove. He's going to have to be careful. Getting too high, you might clip that wall, and that could damage your toe, and that could be the end of your race pretty much, because if your toe gets damaged, it's so hard to get that repaired and get it back to where you want it. So got to conserve your stuff, especially it's only lap 34 of 80. Still a long ways to go.
Still side by side for the 5th position. Looks like Bill Brown will clear Kevin Malone, and it now looks like John Higman Jr. will look under Malone, and looks like he will clear him as well. And now, as we say that, Bill Brown looks under Bill Tomer going into turn 1. That is for the 4th spot. Bill is starting to march his way back forward after we saw his problem off turn 4 getting up out of the groove a few laps ago. But looks like all is good in his garage, or pit stall right now. Looks like now Bill will fight back on the inside going into turn 3.
And this right here, what you're watching is the Battle of the Bills. The number 5 and the number 84, Bill Tomer in the 5, and then Bill Brown in the 84. These guys have been fighting it out quite a few times actually this run, and so far there's been no contact, but they've been racing pretty hard as the 73. He's going to look to make the move. John Higman Jr. doesn't have anywhere to go. Look to make it 3 wide. The gap closed going in 3 and 1, or turns 1 and 2, excuse me. He's right up on the 5's back bumper, but nowhere to go with the run. So the 84 is being shuffled out of his place again. He got too high for 1 and 2. If he could just adjust his line a little bit, I think he could pull that outside off. It's just running so high. You get out of the groove and you have to check up a lot more because the banking, what little banking there is, it goes away the higher you get up.
Yeah, now we see Kevin Malone sliding up a little bit into Bill Brown. Bill gets out of the groove again. He looks like he will lose a few more positions now, as the 99, looks like the 31, and possibly the 11 will get by him. Bill is getting shuffled back now this run.
And these front 2 cars, Chad Coleman in the number 38 and Fred Moreau, these guys have pulled 2.5 seconds on the rest of the field pretty much, and these guys are still having their 2-car battle. Lap after lap, we've got switchovers and the 38, the 51 switching positions, racing it out up front and pulling away from the field as the calamity behind them has just slowed everyone down. And actually, looking back through the field, we see the number 31 of Eric Myers, last week's winner. He's moving up, and we see Andrew Fayosh, your points leader. He saved that car a few laps ago, and he's fallen back to just out of the top 10 and 11th. So we'll be able to see if he can make it up, but it looks like he's struggling, and he might have heated those tires up.
Yeah, saving your tires in the long run is really big here, as we mentioned. And heating those tires up and wearing them out a little bit, that will just destroy your long run speed, and you'll have none of it. And it may have happened to Andrew after that save off of, I believe, turn 2. So we'll have to see if he can march his way through the field this run, as the field is now 2 laps from halfway. It looks like Chad Coleman will still be leading this race over Fred Moreau. About 2/10 between them, but like you said, they are pulling away from the field. They have 3 seconds over Jeff Ramsdell, and about 3.5 seconds back to Bill Tomer and John Higman.
And actually, I'd like to also mention, we see Kevin Malone, who moved his way up into the top 5, and Bill Brown, who had been up there. Actually, he almost was battling for the lead for a while. They've both fallen back out of that top, pretty much the top group. And it looks like they might have wore their stuff out too, because the number 31, Eric Myers, continues to march his way through these cars one after one as we see the 99 in the wall. Doesn't look like anything bad will happen by it, but Scott Rutherford definitely will start to fall off this pack. Hitting the wall just once, pretty bad for you. And Andrew Fayosh, he is here, and being the points leader, he's sitting in 10th right now, but he's behind this group of cars that are racing pretty hard. So I think he's just looking big picture right now, not racing it too hard. Gonna look to maybe make the pass 3 wide. And the caution is out once again, looking to see what it was.
Well, this is a little bit for these drivers will get a little bit of a break now from this rough racing. It looks like 91 may have had another problem. Looks like him in the 66. No, 91 of Steven Maddox.
And the number 83 of Daniel Lavalier, they both got together pretty hard on the front stretch, and they were on the actual straightaway part of it. It looks like the 66 came down, and the 83 came up, and it just, you can't do that. And they hooked each other right. One went to the outside wall, went to the inside wall, and both of their nights are done for sure. The 83 is trashed, and the 28, he's out for sure. So, bummer. Or excuse me, the 66, he's out for sure. The 83, his car's crab walking, so they're both out.
Yeah, tough break for both of those guys. Like we said up front, now they just crossed the halfway point, so we are halfway in this race.
And as we were talking about earlier, again, I don't quite know, but I will pull a driver down to interview him once we come back from a quick commercial break, find out how the fuel strategy is looking, because we're on lap 41 right now of 80, and again, I'm not sure how the fuel capacity is, but I think they might just be right around the edge of being able to make it. So we'll pull someone down, get a quick interview when we come back from break, and we'll get ready to set you guys back up for a green flag run here. We are live at Auto Club Speedway for the nationwide ITZR race. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And you've joined us back at the nationwide race here for the ITZR guys. We're at Auto Club Speedway, 43 laps into this 80-lap event. We've been joined by the number 5 driver, Bill Tomer, who has been driving up in the top 5, battling it out all night long so far. We've got him up in the booth, and we've got a couple questions for him. First off, how's the car been driving for you tonight?
It's not bad. I mean, I can run up here with these guys. Two guys in front, Moreau and Coleman, seem to be really fast. But yeah, it's a pretty good setup that they came up with this time. I think it's not too loose, not too tight, but it can get a little bit unstable on you every once in a while.
Now, with the car being slightly unstable, is it hard to make the battles work 2 and 3 wide, or what's the best place to be making the passes out here?
I think you just have to get a run off of a corner, and then just make the pass down the straightaway. Everybody's obviously, being a fixed setup league, everybody's equal through the corner, so you just got to try to get in a little bit easier probably, and just kind of get a good run off the corner.
Now we see the caution coming out right on lap 40, and we pit on 41 coming to 42. That is just about 40 laps from the checkered flag. How long can you guys make it on a green flag run?
I think we can probably go 40, so I'd say that everybody that pitted, I think it was just the whole field just pitted, so I think we're all pretty good on fuel now.
Alrighty, as we're going to see the pace car lights go off, we'll bring it back to the channel. We wish you luck on this restart. You're starting 5th on the inside, so good luck.
Alright, thanks guys.
As we move him back up to his channel, we're looking up at the top row of cars here. We've got the number 51, Fred Moreau, joined by Jeff Ramsdell on the outside. And we also see the number 73 of John Higman Jr. He's moved up the field. We haven't talked about him too much tonight. He's up in 3rd. First time. That's the highest he's been up tonight. And we see Chad Coleman. He's up in 4th. And that's, I think, the furthest back we've seen him all night. And then we see Bill Tomer, who we just talked to. And in 6th, Todd Guerin. In 7th, Bill Brown. In 8th, Trevor Dalton. And 9th, William Long. And rounding out the top 10, we see Cody Welker. And a lot of these drivers have been slowly making their way up the field. Trevor Dalton, this is definitely the highest he's been all night, so we'll be able to see if he can do anything with this track position. His track position is very important here as they go through 3 and 4. We're almost ready to go green flag once again here at Auto Club.
Yeah, like we've been saying, we got a couple new players here in the top 5. I know we've seen Jeff Ramsdell and John Higman up here, but they haven't really been this close to the front this entire race, so we'll see if they can actually hang up here, maybe even grab the lead a few laps here. As the pace car dives down, Fred Moreau will lead them back to the green flag. They're stack up for the restart. Still stacking up, and Fred Moreau will take off. Another good restart. Jeff Ramsdell doesn't get going as good. Chad Coleman will give him a little bump draft down the front stretch as John Higman will look under Ramsdell going into turn 1 side by side, and looks like Higman will clear Ramsdell.
Yeah, a little bit of bump draft. I think that's an understatement. The number 38 was all over Jeff's back bumper as we see the battle for first heating up right away, not wasting any time. John Higman Jr. to the bottom. Jeff Ramsdell looking on the outside, looking to see if he can maybe get the run coming off the corner here. The 51's going to be on the high side, and the number 73 will be on the inside. It looks like the 51 will be able to pull all the way up to the wall, keep his run going. Jeff Ramsdell, he has the choice to go to the bottom. Is he going to take it? And he's going to try, but the 73 is going to block him all the way down there. Going into turns 1 and 2, he's going to make it 3 wide. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to keep the nose down there. He will. See 3 wide, battle for the lead. Almost contact between the 9 and the 73. And the 73 will be able to pull through the middle, through the chute. And it's going to be, again, a 2-car battle, 2 wide going through 3 and 4, as the 51's going to come right up to Jeff Ramsdell's back bumper. A huge little pack of cars right here. And there's a little bit of bump drafting going on between the 84 and the 4, and almost some contact between the Bills going through the corner right there. Ooh, that was close.
This is a really good... Oh, Bill Tomer gets loose, and Bill Brown sent through the grass. So is Chad Coleman. Bill Tomer up the track.
And this is the big one, guys. We have lots of cars going around. I see a car flipping, I do believe. Big wreck going on the front stretch coming off of turn 4. Ouch.
Yeah, that was pretty big wreck there, about 5-6 cars caught up in that. That is easily the biggest one we have seen tonight. And there were a couple of front runners that were caught up in that one. Looks like including Bill Tomer, looks like Bill Brown maybe, Chad Coleman. William Long was caught up in that. Man, we saw a bunch of good cars get wiped out in that one.
Yeah, just as Bill Tomer said under commercial break, he was just talking about how unstable the cars could be at times, and he had a pretty good handle on it most of the race, and it just looks like it finally got to him there. And when he was trying to save it, he came down on the number 84 and sent him around. He spun back up on the track, took out a few more cars. Chad Coleman, who also got pretty loose, and he was able to take it down into the grass, mow the lawn, and come back up the track and actually be able to make it through. He will lose quite a few spots out of that, but Chad Coleman's car did survive, and that's all you need here. But a lot of cars taken out in that one. That was a big one for sure, and you don't see big wrecks like that at tracks like this all that often because of the fact that it's such a big track. But when you've got cars spinning everywhere, there's just so little you can do basically. So it's unfortunate, but it's a product of hard racing. We're on lap 47, 48 of 80, and these guys are looking to make up as many positions as possible, and they just ran out of room so early.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, that did take out a few good contenders for the win here. But we see that about 2 or 3 of them don't have severe damage, as we have some pit stops taking place. Looks like the first taker will be Kevin Malone in the 13, and pretty much the whole back half of the field is going to pit here, so taking advantage of this caution to get some 4 fresh Goodyears and get some fuel. We had about, looks like top 13 or 14 stayed out. Don't know how this will work out, but we'll see if these guys that got wrecked in this caution, like Chad Coleman, Bill Tomer, Bill Brown, these guys were involved in this wreck, see if they can get their cars repaired, get fresh tires, put a full tank of fuel in there, and see if they can head back out and contend for the win again.
And on this caution, we will see the number 2 of Travis Pinney. He will be your lucky dog. He's got a damaged car, and he's 2 laps down, coming to 1 lap down, so he's got a little ways to go, but with these cars being knocked out, he might be able to compete with some people and make up some positions, and we'll see a lot of drivers towards the front actually be able to make up some positions now that a couple of the faster cars have been knocked out of the top 10 due to an incident, especially Andrew Fayash, who's been up front a lot today. Ever since he's gotten loose, he's never been able to make up the positions, so he's got a ways to go, as Jeff Ramsdell is your leader here. We'll take a quick commercial break and bring you back when it's time to go green flag racing at Auto Club Speedway. And we're back here at Auto Club as the pace car is ready to pull off once again. We're on lap 51, coming to 52, just over 30 laps under 30 laps to go. This is going to shape up to be a great race so far. We've seen a lot of action as Jeff Ramsdell gets a great start right there. Everyone on the inside's gotten great starts all night long. John Higman Jr., again, he'll be able to take very good advantage of that great start. He'll be able to jump right behind Jeff in turns 1 and 2, and the 51 and the 4 will be hung out on the high side just a little bit. They'll be able to dive down going through the corners and onto the backstretch, as it looks like we see a slight, pretty big battle actually through the halfway through the field. A couple drivers getting loose, moving backwards, as we see the number 51, Fred Moreau. He's looking to get the lead back. He's had a fast car all night long, but so has Jeff Ramsdell, and so has John Higman. So, here we are.
John goes a little bit wide coming out of turn 4. Todd Guerin will get under him, looks like going down the front stretch. Todd will take over the third spot. We have not talked much about Todd tonight. And now he'll look under Fred Moreau for the second position. So we got a couple new players here, like Todd Guerin. Eric Myers is now up to 4th. And here comes Cody Welker looking under John Higman for the 5th position. So got a nice 6-car battle here for the lead, as they have spaced themselves out from Trevor Dalton in the 55 for the 7th position.
Yeah, talking about drivers we have not talked about all night, Cody Welker is definitely one of them, and so is Eric Myers. We've mentioned that he did win last week at Richmond, but he started out pretty much towards the back of the pack, and every restart he's been able to make up 1 or 2 positions, and the last big green flag run we had, we saw him make up quite a few positions under the run, and he's moved his way up into the top 5 right now. And his car looks pretty solid, along with Cody Welker in the number 11. We haven't seen him all night, as we see him blink a little bit through the corner. Jeff Ramsdell still leading, and the 51's trying to battle for the lead, but he's having a hard time keeping the run. He's going to get a bump draft from the number 4 of Todd Guerin. That's going to propel him to the inside line, and he's most likely going to be able to clear Jeff as he just flies up the track, and he will probably be able to lead this lap as long as Jeff doesn't get the run. They're going to get very squirrely there. Everyone holds on to it. A little bit of bump drafting again between the 31 and the 4, but right now, Fred Moreau's moved back to your lead with Jeff Ramsdell on the outside battling hard, but the number 4 is here for the party, along with the 31, the 11, and the 73. And don't look now, but Trevor Dalton in the 55, he's here too.
Yep, we now have about a 7-car battle for the lead, as now we have a 3-car bump drafting train on the bottom between Moreau, Todd Guerin, and Eric Myers. Looks like Moreau will get the advantage, though. Jeff still hanging tough on the outside. Side by side for the 2nd position, Todd Guerin in the 4 looking to take over that spot, as Eric Myers looking to make it 3 wide. Doesn't look like he's going to do it. He's going to give Todd a little push down the front stretch. Doesn't look like make it to the bumper of the 51. He's going to take a look under Fred Moreau for the lead going into turn 1. Todd Guerin in the number 4, side by side with number 51 of Fred Moreau. This is for the lead, as we have 25 laps to go down the backstretch.
And if you've just tuned in, you've tuned into the first race of the ITZR Nationwide Chase Series. This is a 5-car battle, or a 5-race battle between these chasers. And right now you've tuned in to probably some of the best racing you will ever see on the simulator right here. We have a great 6-car battle for this lead, and the rest of the pack is coming again. We see the number 157, Andrew Fayash. He's moved his way back up into this lead pack. He's been hauling, and he's here ready to bring the mail. He's been hauling the mail. He's ready to deliver it now. He's moving under the 11, pushing him right out of the way. Look out, guys. He is coming with a full head of steam.
We have not, don't look now, but the last caution involved 3 of our top runners, or front runners. Don't look now, but that 38 of Chad Coleman, who was one of them, you see him on the high side there, Trevor Dalton looking to make that pass. He has fought his way all the way up to the top 10, almost to the top 5. He's in this lead pack. Don't look now. He's got a chance to still win this thing. Remember, himself and I believe the 51 of Fred Moreau, they have led most of this race, as he's now going to look under the 157 of Andrew Fash going into the corner. Close racing here between himself and Cody Welker and Andrew Fash. It looks like Chad Coleman will settle in behind both of them.
And just as I said, this is some of the best racing you will ever catch in the Auto Club. is known for giving some really good battles once these tires wear out and you can't get your advantage on these fixed setups. Everyone's on the same thing, so you really don't see the setup advantages come into play. And right now, the number 31, Eric Myers, these are his first laps that he's been able to lead out here. And the number 4, he's being pushed up the track, Todd Guerin, by Jeff Ramsdell. He's looking to get that second place back, but the way this pack is, it's just so hard to make your positions and be able to keep them, because you lose your momentum and right away you're going to have someone looking underneath you, looking above you, and they've been bump drafting a lot here as the number 4 is going to pull up on Jeff's black bumper, look low, he's not going to be able to make it, but oh, we see contact between the 73 and the 4. He gets sideways. Everyone's going to be able to save at the 73, pushing up the track, running out of room. Nobody hits him. Everyone's good. That was close.
That was very close. But don't look now, but the 31 of Eric Myers, who did win the last race at Richmond, is now the current leader over Jeff Ramsdell and Fred Moreau. And like we keep saying, Chad Coleman has marched his way back up to the front, now in the 4th position, right ahead of Todd Guerin and Andrew Fash. So Chad is making his way solidly through the field, as there is still plenty of time left, as there is 20 to go in the first race in the chase for the ITZR Nationwide Series. And it looks like Eric Myers will lead this lap. Like I said, 20 to go this time.
And updating you on a few drivers we saw towards the front. Looking back, the last car in the lead lap is Bill Tomer, who we did interview earlier. He was in the top 5, got involved in that last incident. His car's pretty dang beat up. He's towards the back of the field. The number 13, Kevin Malone, we saw him battling pretty dang hard as well. He got involved in that last incident, and he's been pushed back to 16th, and he's battling Doug Geeler pretty hard for 17th. So these guys, they've been pushed out of the top 10, the top 5 for sure, and it's definitely heartbreak because they had fast cars. But looking back towards the battle up front, we still see Eric Myers leading, but Jeff Ramsdell, he's trying to make the run on him, but he's having a hard time getting the run because he's having to hold off the 51 and the 38. They've been hard charging the past couple laps, and every time he has to block them, he loses a little bit of momentum on the 31. But this is definitely some great battling, as we've said, and this is awesome to watch.
We take particular notice of Eric Myers in the 31, his line there going into the corner, something we don't really see a lot on the sim, but he took the middle line going into turn 1 and 2. Usually the bottom is the preferred lane at most tracks, but he made the middle work here going into turn 1, and he actually pulled away from Ramsdell a little bit, so maybe adjusting your line a little bit is allowing him to pull away over Jeff. But Jeff is not going away. He's going into turn 1. He's got that draft, but he's got some hungry drivers behind him. The 3 of them pretty much have been up front all day. Coleman, who was involved in that last wreck, Moreau, who's led most of the laps, and Andrew Fash, who has had to come from the back, now all the way up to the top 5 as he is side-by-side with Chad Coleman going into turn 3. Looks like Fash will get the advantage. Coleman fights back on the bottom as we may see a little bit of contact. Nope, they all avoided. They all come out clean. Andrew Fash is on the high side coming out of turn 4. Gets a little bit sideways. Still side-by-side with Chad Coleman as they come down to the start-finish line. Going into turn 1. Still side-by-side for the 4th position.
Sideways or not, as we go on board with the 51 trying to chase down Jeff Ramsdell, these drivers have been doing a great job all night long, giving us a great race. These are great drivers out here. The few races I've been able to watch of these guys, the ITZR Nationwide drivers, they've all been great races, especially Richmond last week was really interesting as we see the 51 making his move on Jeff Ramsdell. He's not going to be able to clear him, but he's got that inside line, which he might be able to make something happen going into 1 and 2, but Eric Myers is loving the battles behind him. He's being able to pull a little bit. He's got about half a second almost on this lap, so he's loving the battles, but watch out, the 9 and the 51, they're still battling it out, so the 51 can't quite clear Jeff Ramsdell, so he's pretty much stuck in 3rd. We'll see how he can play it out here, but as these tires start to wear out, it gets harder and harder to drive it in, and your car just gets so tight and it just wants to push.
Yeah, Eric Myers is right where he needs to be right now in that clean air. He's got nobody in front of him. He's got a good handling car, looks like. all he needs to do is hit his marks, and he may try and pull away from Ramsdell and Moreau. And now Fred Moreau will look under Ramsdell at the start-finish line as they come to 15 to go. Going into turn 1, they are still side by side for the second position. This is what Eric Myers is wanting to see right now, as he is pulling away. Looks like Moreau will clear Ramsdell coming out of turn 2. Eric Myers pulls away, looks like by about a half a second, over Fred Moreau in the 51.
And this might just be what Jeff Ramsdell really needs, to have someone pull out in front of him, maybe even pull away from him, so he can stop worrying about having to defend his position, because the more they battle, the more Eric Myers does pull away. And while Eric is loving it, the drivers behind him might get a little bit frustrated because they might have faster cars and they're just being held up by this. So we'll see, as the 51 has moved past Jeff, he'll be able to at least attempt to run down to 31, as we're running out of laps pretty quickly here. Just over 10 to go, so lap 67 right now. Things are going to get very interesting. We've still got a lot of racing left as we see these guys trying to chase down Eric Myers. We're going to take one more quick commercial break. We'll be back to bring you the rest of the race here at Auto Club Speedway. And don't go anywhere. You're about to see a great finish. And we're back from that quick commercial break, and things have changed up front just a little bit. That lead that Eric Myers had over the 51 and the rest of the guys is gone. 51, Fred Moreau, he is there all over Eric's bumper. The battle's heating up with just over 10 to go, 11 to go as we speak, as we see Jeff Ramsdell also losing a position almost there. The battles are on, the heat is on, the water is about to boil here at Auto Club Speedway, where the temperatures are 77 degrees and around here, but I bet the drivers are, the steam's coming out of their ears. They're ready to race this out. They're ready to get the win, as we see the crossover by the 31. Going to race it, drag race it down to the finish line. 51's going to have the outside going into 1 and 2 as it looks right now. So that might be the best line for him. He'll have the momentum, but he'll probably get stuck out there, which will be a bummer for him.
Yeah, and it looks like the 31 will complete the move, as now we see another crossover attempt by Fred Moreau, as we have 10 laps to go here in the first race in the chase for the ITZR Nationwide Series. Side by side going into turn 3. Fred Moreau is going to grab the lead right back from Eric Myers. Eric's going to look to do another crossover, it looks like, but don't look now. But like we said, Chad Coleman, who was involved in that last caution about 20 laps ago, is now trying to make it 3 wide for the race lead. So you know how fast his car is. You know he's hungry for this win, and he's looking to kick off the chase on the right foot.
Yeah, you just got to be careful though, running out of laps. You guys out here, you don't want to kick it off on the wrong foot and take out some guys as they get 3 wide there, almost making contact. Everybody has to shake and bake a little bit. Everyone holds on to it. 38 will lose his run on the inside, but this, as I've said before, this is the best battling, the best racing as you're going to see, especially on the sim. This is awesome to watch from here, and just imagine how much fun the iRacing drivers are having down there. This is a great race right now, as Fred Moreau will lead another lap on 73. The laps are running down, and every single lap that counts off is another chance that these drivers lose to get the positions and get the win.
Looks like it's settled out for a little bit for the time being. And it looks like the first battle is for the 4th position. Andrew Fash the 3rd. Under Jeff Ramsell in the 9. That is for the 4th position. Side by side going into turn 3. Looks like Andrew will take the spot away from Jeff. He now eyes the battle for the 2nd position between Coleman and Myers. Like we said, Andrew is the points leader as of now. And going into the chase, he did have the most bonus points as a 31 of Eric Myers. Gets him to the wall a little bit. That will hinder his momentum. He's going to block Chad Coleman a little bit. Try to stop his momentum, but into turn 1, Chad's looking under Eric.
Yeah, you just got to be careful doing that. You do that one too many times, and you're going to be out into the outside wall or the inside wall, and you'll end up in the garage. And especially with how hard these drivers are racing right now, they're letting Fred Moreau just run away with the lead, and keep running these laps off. That lead will just be the win. And the 31, he's doing everything he can to chase him down, but he's also holding up everyone behind him. And don't look now, Andrew Fash, he has been up and down on the charts all night long. He is back up in this battle. Don't count him out. There's just 6 laps to go here, but there's a lot of racing to be done as we see him catching up on the 5 car. They're all going to have to squeeze around him. He'll stay up high. 157, looking to the bottom side. Little bit of contact between him and Chad. He's going to be able to get to the bottom side on this backstretch, and he might be able to make the pass going in 3 and 4, but as we look at that, the lead's pretty much half a second on the 31, and it's going to be hard to catch him in this time unless he makes a mistake.
And still side by side between Fash and Coleman going into 3, coming out of 4. Fash will get the advantage as Eric Myers gets in the wall yet again. And looks like Fash will go to the apron on the front stretch. 3 wide for the 2nd position. Coleman to the outside. Fash will take the 2nd position away. Now 3 wide for the 3rd as Ramsell will take 3rd away. Risky move by Jeff Ramsell.
What a power move that was by the Andrew Fash right there. And what a risky move that was, as you said, by Ramsdell. But every position you make right here, it's going to count, as we saw in the NASCAR Sprint Cup title. It was a tie a couple years ago. All that mattered was the wins in the top 5. So every position counts, every point counts, as we see the 31 making the apron work. He's going to come back up, almost hit the 38. 38's heading up into the wall. Chad Coleman, he's not going to be able to win this race for sure now. And the battle for the lead is on. Can Fayash, your points leader, can he chase down Fred Moreau? Just 4 laps to go here at Auto Club Speedway. A half of a second separates these two guys. Can he make it up? Can he win? Fred Moreau, he's been fast all night long. So has Andrew Fayash. So it's going to be a battle down to every single corner, every single lap, and it's going to be a good one. Will he be able to get to him? I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, when we come down to crunch time here, the last 4 laps, as they will be coming at 3 to go. Looks like this seems to be the most spread out we've seen the field tonight. Fayash is starting to run down Moreau a little bit. Not sure if it's going to be enough, but that draft will come into play, looks like, as Fash is now a half a second back. A little less. So he's got 3 laps to do it, but can our points leader, Andrew Fash, run down Fred Moreau and win the first race in the chase? But he's also got to worry about that 9 car behind him of Jeff Ramsell. He is also catching up. And not only that, but there is still a battle in front of him with Fred Moreau. Fred Moreau has been pretty much a class of the field all night. So we'll see what happens here. So they're going to come down to 2 to go coming out of turn 4.
We've got 2 to go and 8 corners for the number 157. Triple digits here, and that's what he's seeing on his interval. He's got a lot of space to make up, and he's just over a third of a second behind Fred. And he's really trying to do everything he can. You can see him running it hard into the corners and braking in the middle, and he's getting the run off and grabbing onto that draft. He's closing in. It looks to be about a quarter of a second, but Ramsdell's also closing in on him. So we could see a 3-car battle. If anything happens, Fred Moreau, he's got this in the cat seat. But there's still a lot of time in this last lap for anything to happen. This is where he's got to make it happen, though. Fred Moreau, that lead is going away very quickly. The 157, Andrew Fayash, your points leader, he is going to be on his bumper probably by the time they come out of 1 and 2 here. It's going to be a battle to the finish, and I don't know. This could be anyone's game. It's going to be very, very close as he gets the run through 1 and 2. He's going to have a run on the backstretch here. I don't think he might be able to get to him going into the corner, maybe make something happen, but it's going to be so close. He's going to have to get the run off of 3 or 4. Ooh, this is intense. 157. He doesn't quite get the best entry into the corner, but he's diving it in, trying to get the momentum. Doesn't look like it's going to be anything to materialize. The 51 car will stay in front of him. He's going to be able to get the win here at Auto Club Speedway, followed by Andrew Fayash, Jeff Ramsdell, John Higman Jr., Eric Myers, Chad Coleman, Cody Welker, Scott Weatherford. Oh, wow. Bad spelling right there for me. And Trevor Dalton, and rounding out the top 10, Todd Guerin. But what a battle there was for the finish right there. That was, if there was another lap, I think Fayash would have been able to make something happen and really battle it out. And that was a great race, and Fred Moreau does come away with his first win of the season, so congrats to him. We'll see if we can pull him in for an interview before he drops out of the server. What'd you think of the finish? I didn't even let you talk.
Oh man, that was intense. It looked like Andrew was going to catch him, but he got to his bumper. Just, once you get to somebody's bumper, it's very tough to get by them. I don't know, if we had one more lap, it would have been maybe a side-by-side race to the finish, but they usually say the best car doesn't win. I don't know. I think Fred Moreau tonight was pretty much class of the field, and I think maybe we could say arguably the best car won tonight. Fred had a very good race, very solid race, and as did Andrew Fayash. What an up and down night for him. Starts in the back, comes to the front, and then goes to the back again, restarts mid-pack for the last restart, and by the end is racing for the win. So a very, very fun race tonight from these guys.
And it was different from a lot of races that I've broadcasted and commentated. From lap 1 to lap 80, it was a good race. We had a few cautions and that, split things up, which isn't always a bad thing, but there was a lot of good racing. And this finish, while it wasn't anything super spectacular, it's always fun to watch a battle for the lead and watching this guy trying to chase him down. And when he's the points leader and it's chase time, it really just adds a great storyline behind it, and it was definitely a fun race to watch, and I think the fans at home enjoyed it. Not sure if I'll be able to pull anyone for an interview in here, but I'll be trying very briefly right now. When we come back, we'll either have interviews or we'll have to wrap it up.
Welcome back to the conclusion, or post-race, of the ITZR Nationwide Series here at Auto Club Speedway. This was the first race in the chase for these guys. Unfortunately, we cannot reach anybody at this time for interviews, but we saw a fun race here tonight. We're going to go through the results really quick here. Obviously, the winner tonight was Fred Moreau in the 51. Right behind him, we saw Andrew Fayash in second. Third place was the number 9 of Jeff Ramsdell. In fourth, we had John Higman Jr. in the 73. And rounding out the top 5 was the number 31 of Eric Myers. Right behind him was the number 38 of Chad Coleman. Number 11 in 7th place of Cody Welker. In 8th, we had the number 99 of Scott Rutherford. 9th was the number 55 of Trevor Dalton. And rounding out the top 10 was the number 4 of Todd Guerin.
And a few notables that finished back there, we saw Christopher Kurtzel, who had connection issues this race. Last week we saw him race his way into the chase. Unfortunately, he had connection issues and was never able to sort them out. We saw Bill Brown, who had been up in the front most of the race. He got involved in that last major incident along with Bill Tomer, and he finished in 20th right out there, one lap down. But we saw a lot of the big names that were up front, including Kevin Malone. He had been up there racing it out, and they got all involved in the same incident, and it took them out. And that allowed a lot of drivers to move up and get better finishes than they probably would have. But all in all, we had a great race here tonight at Auto Club. And next week we head to New Hampshire for round 2 of this chase. So it's going to be a good one. And New Hampshire's a lot of fun, a completely different track from this. We've gone to a lot of different tracks. Richmond is the oval track, and it's the short track oval track. This is an oval track, of course, and it's the 2-mile oval track. It's oval track. It's a monster compared to New Hampshire and Richmond. So we've had 3 different major races in the past couple races, and next week it's going to be a good one at New Hampshire. Again, round 2 of this 5-race chase. I think it's going to be a good one. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a great race. Another, I guess you can call it a semi-short track, flat, 1-mile oval. Like you said, Auto Club is a monster compared to New Hampshire. I think we'll see a similar race as we saw at Richmond. Richmond, we saw a lot of beating and banging. Classic short track racing. But New Hampshire, though, very tough to pass. These guys, though, they're pretty clean racers, but as we wind down this chase, and after that race there will be only 3 races left, we'll see how that race turns out, but I think we're going to see another great race as we saw here tonight.
Well, I definitely hope that it will be a great race, and as tonight was, this is Steve Bonesteel, and that's Brandon Hoff over there, and we're signing off for Checkered Flag Interactive's coverage of the ITZR Nationwide Series at Auto Club. Catch us next time, and update yourself on our Facebook page. We'll be posting up broadcast links and upcoming broadcasts daily. We'll be keeping you updated. If you liked tonight's broadcast, which we really hope you did, keep yourself updated because there's definitely a lot more to come. So, have a great night. We'll see you next time.